Imagine if someone told you that right now, as you're watching this video, more than 37 trillion tiny living units are working together inside your body. They build your muscles, repair your skin, fight deadly infections, carry oxygen, and even help you think. Yet each of these microscopic workers is so small that thousands of them could fit on the tip of a pin. These incredible workers are called cells, the fundamental building blocks of all living organisms. Without them, there would be no plants, no animals, and certainly no humans. Today, we're shrinking down to the microscopic world to explore the fascinating universe hidden inside every living cell. Every cell, no matter whether it's part of a giant whale, a towering tree, or a tiny bacterium, shares three essential features. First is the cell membrane, a thin protective barrier that surrounds the cell. Think of it as the security gate of a high-tech facility. It carefully controls what enters and what leaves, allowing nutrients and oxygen inside while keeping harmful substances out. Next comes the cytoplasm, a jelly-like fluid filling the inside of the cell. This isn't just empty space, it's the environment where thousands of chemical reactions happen every second. Floating within this gel are tiny structures called organelles, each performing a specialized task. Finally, every cell contains genetic material, or DNA, the complete instruction manual that tells the cell how to grow, function, repair itself, and reproduce. Although all cells share these basic features, scientists divide them into two major categories: prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are the oldest and simplest forms of life. They include bacteria and other single-celled organisms that have existed on Earth for billions of years. These cells don't have a nucleus or membrane-bound organelles. Instead, their DNA floats freely inside the cell. They're incredibly efficient despite their simplicity and can survive in environments ranging from deep oceans to volcanic hot springs. Eukaryotic cells, on the other hand, are much larger and far more complex. These are the cells that make up plants, animals, fungi, and humans. Their DNA is safely enclosed inside a nucleus, and they contain numerous organelles, each acting like a specialized department in a massive factory. This division of labor allows eukaryotic cells to perform highly advanced functions that support complex life. At the center of every eukaryotic cell sits the nucleus, often called the brain or control center of the cell. Inside it lies DNA, organized into long strands known as chromatin. Every instruction needed to build and maintain your body is stored here. Whenever a cell prepares to divide, this chromatin coils tightly into visible structures called chromosomes, ensuring genetic information is copied accurately. Hidden within the nucleus is another remarkable structure called the nucleolus, where ribosomes are assembled. Ribosomes may be tiny, but they perform one of the most important jobs in biology. They manufacture proteins. Proteins are the workforce of the body. They build muscles, create hormones, repair damaged tissues, and power countless biological processes. Once ribosomes are made, they leave the nucleus and either float freely in the cytoplasm or attach themselves to a network of membranes called the endoplasmic reticulum, commonly known as the ER. There are two versions of this network. The rough ER is covered with ribosomes, giving it a rough appearance. Its primary job is producing and transporting proteins. The smooth ER, lacking ribosomes, specializes in producing lipids, breaking down toxins, and storing calcium needed for muscle movement. After proteins are produced, they aren't immediately ready for use. They're packaged into tiny transport sacks called vesicles, which carry them to another organelle known as the Golgi apparatus. If the cell were a shipping company, Golgi apparatus would be its packaging and distribution center. Here, proteins are modified, folded into their correct shapes, labeled with molecular tags, and sorted before being delivered to their final destinations, either inside or outside the cell. Without the Golgi apparatus, proteins would never reach where they're needed. Cells also need storage spaces. That's where vacuoles come in. Vacuoles are membrane-bound sacs that store water, nutrients, waste products, and other materials. Plant cells contain a particularly massive central vacuole that stores water and maintains pressure inside the cell, helping plants remain upright. Without this water-filled compartment, plants would quickly wilt. Just as every city needs a waste management system, every cell needs a cleanup crew. This responsibility belongs to lysosomes. Filled with powerful digestive enzymes, lysosomes break down damaged organelles, worn-out proteins, invading bacteria and cellular waste. Instead of allowing garbage to accumulate, lysosomes recycle useful materials so the cell can reuse them efficiently. Of all the organelles inside the cell, perhaps none is more famous than the mitochondrion. Often called the powerhouse of the cell, mitochondria convert nutrients from the food you eat into a molecule called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. ATP serves as the universal energy currency for all living cells. Every heartbeat, every blink, every thought, every breath, and every movement you make depends on ATP produced inside mitochondria. Cells requiring large amounts of energy, such as muscle cells and nerve cells, contain thousands of mitochondria working around the clock. But even a bustling city needs roads and support beams. Inside the cell, that role is performed by the cytoskeleton. This network of microscopic protein fibers gives the cell its shape, provides structural support, and allows organelles to move from one location to another. It also helps cells divide and even enables certain cells to crawl or change shape when necessary. Plant cells possess two additional structures that make them unique. The first is the chloroplast, the site of photosynthesis. Inside chloroplasts is chlorophyll, the green pigment that captures sunlight. Using the sunlight along with water and carbon dioxide, plants manufacture glucose, their food, and release oxygen into the atmosphere. Every breath you take is possible because chloroplasts have been producing oxygen for hundreds of millions of years. The second unique feature is the cell wall, a rigid outer layer surrounding the cell membrane. Unlike the flexible membrane, the cell wall provides strength, protection, and structural support, allowing plants to stand tall without collapsing. Some cells even have specialized structures that help them move or perform unique tasks. Tiny hair-like projections called cilia line parts of the human respiratory system. They beat rhythmically, sweeping dust, bacteria, and mucus out of the airways to keep your lungs clean. Another structure, called a flagellum, resembles a long whip-like tail that propels cells through liquids. Many bacteria use flagella for movement, and in the human body, the only cell equipped with one is the sperm cell. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's astonishing how much happens inside something so unimaginably small. A single cell contains security systems, power plants, recycling centers, transportation networks, manufacturing plants, storage facilities, communication systems, and even its own instruction manual. So the next time you look at your hand, remember this. Beneath your skin are trillions of living cells, each carrying out thousands of tasks every second without you ever noticing. Together, they create the miracle we call life. And perhaps the most incredible fact of all is that every complex organism on Earth, from the tiniest flower to the largest blue whale, started as just one single cell.